Hey y'all, feels like such a long time since I've been up here doing a video. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how I do my, what I call Ice Me Out tumbler. It's actually just a white tumbler with the Milky Way effect. It's become one of my best sellers. I sell them in many different colors: white, pink, blue, purple. So I'm here today to show you how I achieve this look step by step. Stay tuned. All right, I've already sanded and prepped my cup. I spray painted it white. For this Ice Me Out tumbler, you want it white, so your base will have to be white. If you, like when I do a pink one, I spray paint my base pink. So here's my tumbler. It's fairly warm because I had it sitting next to a heater so I can spread my epoxy really easily. I have about 5 milliliters of epoxy right here, and I won't use all of it because we only use the epoxy as an adhesive, so we use very, very little, just enough to get the glitter to stick to the cup. There are 6 glitters I use. These are all from theglitterguy.com. I'll put down in the description. Today I'll be using Snowgies, Olaf, Fairest Opal of them all, Marshmallow, Camp Crystal Lake. It's kind of like a silver. And Opal Me Please. Now if you notice, they're all opals. So the fun thing about opals, your base color can be any color you want. And when you use the opal glitters, it shows through. That is the trick. Spray paint your base any color you want and pull out those opal glitters. I have 6, 3 fine and 3 chunky that I like to alternate when I do this. I just adjust my lighting. So here's my cup. Here's my epoxy. And let's get going. And that is all I'm going to use. And I still have some left over, but I'm not going to use any more. I'm now going to take my silicone brush and just scrape off any excess that I don't need. Because we know that the more epoxy you use, the more glitter you will have to use because it soaks up the glitter. Now let's get the arm back on my turner. Let's get this thing spinning. And it is spinning. I have my paper here to catch my glitter. And I'm going to start with my Snowgies, which is a fine glitter. So I'm just going to, oh wait. Oh my gosh, I found a little hair. It's driving me crazy. I can't catch it. Let's wait till it spins back around. There we go. Okay, here we go. I like to apply my glitter with the epoxy method. Anytime I use the Mod Podge method is when something has to be really, really precise. So my next is Olaf, which is going to be a chunky. I'm gonna lay it right next to this fine glitter. This way. My next is Fairest Opal of them all, and that is a fine. And when it spins back around, I'm gonna lay it right next to the Olaf right here. This has a lot of silver, so it gives it that sparkle that this tumbler has. Gives it a really good shimmer. I'm coming back with another chunky Marshmallow, and I'm gonna go next to the Snowgies. I just had a random thought. I don't even know why I'm thinking of it, and I'm making a. Who watches Greenleaf? Oh my God! And it's in its last season. This is the last season. That show is so freaking good, and I'm sad that it's in its last season. I mean, every week they have you hanging on. My goodness. Anyway, this is Camp Crystal Lake, and this is, it's kind of like it's an irregular cut, so it's not exactly a chunky. It's more like shards. It actually looks like pieces of shards of glass, small little pieces of glass. I love it because it sparkles like crazy as well. Yeah, but anyway, Greenleaf, my God in heaven, I be sitting on the edge of my couch like, man, every week they leave you. And I'm like, I don't want the show to end, but I'm like, God, hurry up and get to next Tuesday so we can see what's going on. Now my last glitter, which is a chunky Opal Me Please, and I'm just gonna fill in this last little area. I'm just gonna fill that in. Yeah, I like Greenleaf. I've been getting into The Politician. I'm on well, it has 2 seasons, and I'm on season 2 of The Politician on Netflix. Yes, I know this is a tutorial about cups, but I just felt like talking, okay? I just felt like talking, that's all. Yeah, The Politician is really good. Most things by Ryan Murphy are excellent anyway. I'm all about Ryan Murphy and American Horror Story and 911 and Pose. Oh my goodness, Pose. Can't wait till that show comes back. But I read somewhere because of, the virus, they're not going to be doing a lot of ball scenes. They still want to be responsible on the set. I get it, but I live for the ball scenes in Pose. I mean, I just live for them. So this thing is all glittered and pretty and sparkling real nice. I want to show you because I did use chunky glitter and chunky. Chunky glitter does not like to lay flat like the fine glitter, so, and that's fine. I take me a little piece of parchment paper, the wax paper, and I take it, I'm going to stop this from spinning, and I press down on my glitter to get it to lay flat. Whatever falls off, falls off. I don't care about that. I just need it to stay flat, because the flatter it is, the less sanding I will have to do once I get some epoxy over it. I'm not pressing down hard, just lightly patting it down. So I hate sanding, so I don't want to do a whole lot of sanding because I don't like it. And I'm gonna go ahead and glitter the bottom. And I'm not going to use a chunky glitter for the bottom because it makes it the edges, the lips and the bottoms of the cups are always the roughest. So I'm not gonna make it hard on myself. So I'm just gonna choose one of these signs. I think I'll go with Camp Crystal Lake. This is how I glitter my bottom. Just lift the turner just a bit. I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing, if you can see. I'll just give it a little, there you go. I don't have to let this spin because I didn't use, put this down, I didn't use a lot of epoxy. Remember, I used less than 5 milliliters of epoxy because I only used it as like a glue and adhesive. But I'm just gonna let it spin anyway because I have something spinning already. Once this is dry, and it'll probably take about I'll let it dry for maybe about 4 or 5 hours because it won't take that long because it's just, I didn't use a lot of epoxy. I'm gonna seal it really well with my glitter blast, clear glitter blast, and I will be back and show you my next steps. Okay, I am back with this Ice Me Out tumbler. I have applied the first coat of epoxy and I've sanded, and then I've applied the second coat, so it's super smooth now. Excuse my glove, I used the finger for something else, so whatever. So now I already have my epoxy mixed, and I have my epoxy and my white acrylic paint here for the Milky Way effect. So first things first, let's get this epoxy on this cup, get it nice and wet so that when I go ahead and do the Milky Way, it'll get to swirling and doing its thing. I've had people ask me about the Milky Way, like, I don't know, some people say that theirs get too milky, if that makes sense. Like they've used too much, well, they feel like they've used too much paint or something. So I always say you just start off with just a little at a time and you wait and see how it's moving on the cup. And if it's not enough, then you just keep building. Some people have a heavy hand. I sometimes have a heavy hand, so I get it. But I had to, with Milky Ways, you kind of got to be a little patient and just keep building and building until you get the look that you're looking for, whatever that is. So I'm going to take my heat gun and warm up this epoxy. Warm it up so that I can get this acrylic paint moving and swirling. Also, you have to be a little strategic about where you place your veins, because you don't want to cover up too much of the glitter. Like right here, I don't know if you see, it's really pretty here, so I'm not going to put too much there. So here I am, and I just go in the direction of the design. Make sure I hit the bottom. And so I'm going to stop. This is when I talk about building. I'm just going to let it do its thing for a few minutes and see how it's moving. If it's not moving enough, I'll just hit it with my heat gun again, a little bit more heat to get it swirling. But I already see some action going on, so I'm gonna let that spin for a few and see where I need to add more for that Milky Way, because this isn't enough for me. I already know that, but let me get that right so you can see. So I'm just going to take my heat gun again and help it. Oops. Came right on the bottom of the thing. Get it moving. Now it's starting to move, and I already see where I want to add a little more. And I even take my stick, help it along that way. Just do little wavy lines to get it. Sometimes you get little blobs, and I don't want blobs of paint. And that is the look I'm looking for. Again, I'm going to let that spin and see what kind of movement I get. Also, you want them kind of like how it looks now, kind of like wavy kind of lines where you can still see the glitter peeking through. And that also depends on your heat too. If you use too much heat, that paint is just going to move, and it's just going to look a bit messy. And that is all the heat I'm going to use. It's going to spin. I will let this spin for 5 hours before I turn it off. So I don't even have to babysit it. It's going to do what it's going to do. And we'll come back and finish this cup up. All right, everyone. Here is the finished product of the Ice Me Out Milky Way tumbler. This is, I still have to add the last layer of epoxy because I did add, here we go, the name, it's personalized. I did an offset with white on the bottom and opal vinyl on top. And this is the finished product. Well, almost finished, but you don't need to watch me apply the last layer of epoxy. You know how that goes, but here you go. Comes out perfect every time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the followers and appreciate all my new followers. Stay tuned for more creative things I'll be doing in the future. Bye for now.